I bet you didn't know that Iran and Israel, two nations now locked in a shadow war, were once close allies. Iran and Israel. Today, the names conjure images of conflict, missile strikes, and covert operations. But not long ago, they were partners. After Israel's founding in 1948, most neighbors were hostile. Iran under the Shah was different. It became the second Muslim-majority country to recognize Israel. While the region drew battle lines, Iran opened diplomatic channels, seeing common cause as non-Arab, pro-Western states. This wasn't a distant acquaintance. Israel provided Iran with agricultural technology and military expertise. Iran supplied Israel with vital oil. Their intelligence agencies, Mossad and Savak, even collaborated on covert missions. It was a pragmatic alliance, built on shared interests and a desire for stability in a turbulent region. But this partnership was tied to a specific political reality: Iran's pro-Western monarchy. When that foundation collapsed, so did the relationship. The story of how these allies became bitter enemies is the story of the modern Middle East. It's a tale of revolution, ideology, and shifting power. So how did friendship turn to enmity? The answer lies in a single, seismic event that changed everything. The collapse of their alliance set the stage for decades of hostility, and its legacy still shapes the world today. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution toppled the Shah and brought Ayatollah Khomeini to power, transforming Iran into an Islamic republic. The new regime was anti-Western and fiercely anti-Israel, calling Israel the Little Satan. Overnight, Iran cut all ties with Israel, shutting down embassies and handing the Israeli embassy to the Palestine Liberation Organization. Supporting the Palestinian cause became central to Iran's mission, projecting influence and challenging the regional order. The pragmatic partnership was replaced by ideological hostility. For Israel, this was a devastating loss. A powerful ally turned into a determined adversary. Iran's support for anti-Israel groups made it a threat not just at Israel's borders but across the region. The revolution didn't just end a friendship, it ignited a new era of confrontation. The conflict would no longer be fought openly, but in the shadows. The stage was set for a decades-long struggle, and the Middle East would never be the same. With no shared border, Iran and Israel fought through proxies. Iran armed and funded groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, transforming it into a powerful force on Israel's doorstep. Iran also supported Palestinian groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad, despite religious differences united by opposition to Israel. These proxies launched attacks, turning the Israeli-Palestinian conflict into another front in the Iran-Israel shadow war. Israel responded with airstrikes, assassinations, and cyberattacks, targeting both proxies and Iranian assets. The result? A relentless cycle of attack and retaliation, a war fought in the shadows. This proxy conflict has defined the region for decades, and it shows no sign of ending. The conflict escalated with Iran's nuclear program. Iran insists it's peaceful, but Israel and the West suspect secret weapons ambitions. For Israel, a nuclear-armed Iran is an existential threat. Israel has responded with sabotage, assassinations of nuclear scientists, and cyber-attacks like Stuxnet. Iran in turn accelerates its nuclear work, fueling Israeli fears. The nuclear standoff hangs over the region, threatening to spark a catastrophic war. The stakes have never been higher. The 2020 saw the shadow war turn overt. The US killed Iran's Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani, triggering proxy attacks across the region. At sea, mysterious attacks on ships escalated tensions. Iran-backed groups used drones and missiles to strike Israel and Gulf states, showing Iran's reach. In 2024, after an Israeli strike killed Iranian officers, Iran launched a massive direct attack, hundreds of drones and missiles, from its own soil at Israel. Israel, aided by allies, intercepted most projectiles, but the taboo on direct attacks was broken. Israel responded with precise strikes inside Iran. The shadow war was now out in the open. Both sides had crossed a line, risking all-out war. The region was closer to disaster than ever before. The world watched, anxious and uncertain. The rules had changed forever. By 2025, open conflict had replaced shadow war. Gaza's long war left Israel isolated, even among allies. The US tried to broker a new nuclear deal, but diplomacy faltered. In June, Israel, fearing a massive Iranian attack, launched a preemptive strike on Iranian military and nuclear sites. Air raid sirens blared as the world braced for Iran's response. The US had warned against escalation, but Israel gambled on a decisive blow. The region plunged into uncharted territory. The direct war diplomats had long feared was now reality. The world watched in horror, wondering how far the conflict would spread. The Middle East stood on the brink. Are you afraid of what happens when a regional conflict threatens to ignite the entire world? Because when Iran and Israel stand on the brink of war, the consequences won't stay contained. The Middle East powers the world with oil. One spark here could send energy prices skyrocketing and disrupt global markets overnight. Economic shockwaves would ripple everywhere. Millions could be forced from their homes, unleashing a humanitarian crisis and destabilizing entire regions. The US, Israel's closest ally, would be pulled in, risking a direct military clash with Iran. And global heavyweights like Russia and China could jump into the fray, turning a regional flashpoint into a worldwide crisis. The human and economic toll absolutely staggering. The fate of global security and prosperity hangs in the balance. The world faces a choice: devastating war or a desperate return to high-stakes diplomacy. The outcome of this rivalry will shape not just the Middle East, but the future of the entire world. The stakes have never been higher.